Welcome, trendsetters. We are Alicia and Nicole from Positive Image. As salon owners, hairstylists, and business coaches, we're here to help you navigate the ever-changing landscape of the beauty industry and discover the secrets to creating a thriving salon business. So grab your favorite beverage, cozy up in your salon chair, and let's dive into the world of hair, style, and entrepreneurship together.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Alicia here and Nicole. We're going to talk about how to effectively communicate with your team. That's the gist.
Yeah. How to have good conversation with your team and how to teach them how to solve their own problems.
When it comes to your staff, especially for hairdressers that work behind the chair as well, it's one thing to have one or two, a team the size of one or two. It's another to have 8 or 10. Random fun fact, apparently there's a magic 8 to 10 number that managers in any other industry, not just salons, shouldn't have more than that because it's too many for them to actually successfully manage. And many times it's even less.
So you're saying that 8 to 10 people is the kind of magic number for one person to manage at a time?
Yes. As like that being their job. That you
Yeah.
manage those people.
That makes a lot of sense because when I had 9 staff, that was a lot, and running the salon and everything like that, and I felt like I lost control. Where now there's 7 of us, so 6 people plus myself, and that I would say is probably, or sorry, there's more than that because I have an assistant.
Sorry.
Now
It's late. It's late. Our memories, there's a lot that goes through there. It's nothing against.
Well, I have 6 full-time stylists, and then I have a part-time assistant. So there's 8 of us in total, including myself. So that's probably my max personally. And even then, I have a manager that it comes into place. But I like that fun fact. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm. It helps. It just helps us like understand it's not us who can't handle it. It's understanding that there is a science to it. There is other industries that have processes on these things. So that brings us to one point is to how do we create problem solvers amongst our teams instead of what many salon owners default to. Alicia, how do I do this? Okay, fine, I'll do it. And then we just do everything instead of saying, that's a great problem. How do you think you would go about doing that? What are your thoughts and ideas? Let's work through it. Let's roll through what makes sense, what doesn't make sense. Until they start to get the idea of, oh, I know how to solve this. First try and then go to Alicia afterwards if I still can't get it.
So I feel like that is almost a habit that we've developed. So salon owners typically being A-type personalities, Alicia's pointing to herself right now, A-type personalities who we need to do it all. If we can't do it, like somebody else can't do it our way, so it's not done right. We need to get over that. Things are going to be done, and they could actually get done better or more efficiently if you allow somebody else's mind to take control and to look at the problem in a different way. There are, what's Lee saying? There are a million ways to skin a cat, I think is a saying. And so in that regard, like releasing some of that control is so hard to do in the beginning, but so beneficial later. When you have 6 different people trying to contact you at all hours of the night or a day, or while you're doing a haircut and you're being interrupted. So how do we have these conversations?
100%.
And how do we train ourselves to have these conversations? Because that, I think, is the first and foremost, to your point, where we need to get, as owners, we need to get in the habit of putting the question back on them. And I love how you framed that. Like, well, let's walk through it. How would you do this?
I think that's a great point. Just like bringing back to like, we are the problem first and foremost. And I think that goes to any leadership conversation that we have. If you have an issue, it's like, it's from leadership down, top down. It's you making those decisions. And so I think it's good to remember any new habit takes time. And the first part of a habit is awareness. So first be aware that you do it. Start to recognize, and maybe you weren't aware that you did it until you heard this podcast. And now you're like, oh, wow. Okay. Uh-oh. And now for the next couple weeks, you're just going to hear yourself when you do it. And you might not correct it. You might not correct it at all, which is totally fine. But having that awareness, and when you start to get comfortable catching the awareness faster, you're going to then start to catch it and say something. And you know what I also love when people do is you don't catch it and you leave it, whatever, you finish your client, whatever the situation is, and you go back to the staff, your stylist, your assistant, your manager, whatever it is, and you say, so if I wasn't here and you couldn't reach me and this was a time-sensitive issue, how would you walk through this process? Like, yes, I want you to ask me when you don't know something. 100%. I am here always. But I want you to start thinking about how you would walk through this process. So, like, let's walk through this process together. And then that already starts to get them to start thinking about that as well. And then they'll start helping you start to think about that. And it makes your job easier of becoming aware of it and then catching it and then saying, how do we think that we would go through this? And that comes to ideas too, right? When people have, our staff have amazing ideas, some
Mhm.
less amazing than others. And that's okay because that's where creativity starts. But the yes and then asking them to, so you want to make this change, you want this thing, I don't know, maybe they want a new product or something, whatever it is. Yes, and how does that look if we implement that? How does that affect everything else if we implement that? What does that look like? So then you start to create thinkers and problem solvers versus just people coming up to you being like, I need this, I need that. Which I get it. Like that was us. We created that situation. We set
Mhm.
that vibe and that leadership model up that they need to ask us for everything and they can't do anything on their own. That's what we created.
Well, and what comes with that too is now the responsibility and the onus lands on you as the owner. So when you're talking, what comes to mind is a conversation I had with my team recently about a product that we carry that is a one of these like treatments that you can put in to a blonding service. So they were asking if we can get more in. It is not a cheap product. And so I went and ran the numbers on it. And when I ran the numbers, it did not make sense to buy it again. So it turned into a putting the onus back on them saying this is the numbers. This product did not make its money back, let alone make the shop money. So if you're not selling it or if you're just using and not using it as an add-on service, then how are we to get it into the shop? So it makes them start thinking about like, oh, I want to use this product. I like this product. Now I need to sell this product. Instead of it's just being me saying, no, I'm not getting it back in. So giving them all of the information and letting them know also how you think about when you're bringing in things into the shop or why you're saying no or why you're making these decisions rather than, oh, you're just being a cruel boss and you don't want me to have any pretty shiny new things type of thing.
So cruel, Nicole.
I know.
That's an excellent example because it really does say like, yeah, like I'll give you all the things, but like it costs money. You
Yeah.
need to sell it. That's what we do. We sell things, which we don't always want to talk about that we sell things, but even your haircut, like it is something you have sold.
We sell time is really what we sell.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
sell time. So, and then the things that come along with making pretty hair. But at the end of the day, like having those conversations is really, really important. So I love the way that you kind of approach that. Like at the time, if you're with a client or you're talking with somebody else and somebody comes and interrupts you or asking you how to solve a problem that you can solve right then and there, but then going back after the fact and having that conversation with them about like, okay, let's walk it through. And you're almost starting to create a new conversation or new brain wavelengths links in which the stylist or the team member can start to think for themselves, which is really at the end of the day, that's the biggest goal. I think the other point that we should kind of talk about is the salon owners having the systems in place or a manual for the salon for those simple tasks of like, can you show me how to do a gift certificate again? Or I can't remember how to cash out this or something like that. So having a way that they can go and watch, sometimes the POS systems actually will have it themselves. But what your system is and have it recorded or written down or documented somewhere.
And I think that's like any business, once it gets to a certain size, is recording the systems so that it can be consistent and you can look it up and anyone can look it up. It doesn't have to be just you, the owner, that knows all the things. Um, the knowledge keeper.
I always have this like, and it's a weird morbid thought, and I'm surprised my voice is talking about this on the podcast, but like if I got in a car accident and I was unable to even talk or in a coma or something like that, how would my staff be paid? How would the bills get paid? How would the salon function? And as I'm saying that, I realize for myself, it wouldn't. Like,
Yeah.
we don't have these things set in place
Mhm.
for it. That's scary.
We're all running to mark down all of our passwords and emails for everything.
Well, I was told a while back that I should write down all of these things and put it in a mail bag, like an envelope, and then mail it to myself. And then give it to like my partner or keep it in the safe or something like that. So if anything did happen, that all of my passwords and numbers, it's safe because it's in the sealed envelope, but that is kind of your like in case of an emergency break.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. Like exactly what you're saying. Like how do you get somebody paid? How do you get any of that money that's sitting in the bank account? It's fine. Like everyone can access the booking software.
Yeah.
If they have access to it or can get into the salon, they can do that. They can carry on with that. But how do they handle financial things back and forth? No, that's a whole nother conversation. So
Yes.
homework for all of you going and making your important documents uh bad day bad day documents so that you're prepared for everything.
Yes.
But yes, systems are very key and they're not difficult. And Nicole, you had a great idea, including your tech that you love.
So there are like apps that or programs that you can use that even on your iPhone or phone, like you can record your screen. You can record you doing things and have them set up, whether it's in a Google Doc or something on your computer or in your manual so that it's just a simple click. You can create different systems on there that show people how to do it. There's so many AI things now that is listen to our last podcast if you want to know more about the AI things because that was a good one as well.
So lastly, boundaries, which I think is a thing that we struggle with in general as society, but even more as hairdressers, and then that obviously blends into salon owners. I love psychology and I love people telling me their deepest, darkest secrets. So I need to work extra hard to set up boundaries with my team of like, I am your boss and like I do care, but like maybe I don't need to know that. Maybe I just need to know like what you need from me and how I can support you versus like all of the information.
So you're talking TMI.
TMI, yeah. Yeah. Totally TMI.
So how do you create that boundary? Like it is a frustrating point because it's like it's you're the boss, but you're also their friend. You have that comfortableness, the jovial joke around, talk about home life and stuff like that. But where do you draw the line?
It's hard to draw the line. And don't get me wrong, like I want to know all the tea. I always want to know all the tea. But it does, I think, I feel like it was talked about when I first opened, just the thing that it's hard to be friends with your team. It's very few people are capable of it. Um, and I've definitely had relationships where I thought it was okay, and then I was like, "Oh no, I've gotten myself in too deep. This is not. We have to abort." Um,
Retreat.
yeah. So I definitely like. Unfortunately, I definitely keep myself at a bit of a, I guess, arm's length with things. Um, for me, it's kind of like if it's just a casual conversation, I'll try to exit myself out of the conversation. If it's something that someone's come to me with, like, needing to confide in me, I'll just try to gear the conversation into the most important details because obviously they need support from me. But I also don't need to know everything, and I also don't need them to start to think that I should be acting as their therapist. And trying to set that up for myself or even just having that little bit of a wall for myself to know like, okay, well, like maybe that's not something I need to know. And just moving that conversation along. Do you find you have to deal with that or not so much?
Not as much, but I feel like each person I have a different relationship with. Um, where I actually my now manager lived with me during COVID.
Oh wow.
So the relationship there is a very close one. Like you can't not be close with somebody that you live with. Um,
You
and
either love them or you hate them.
yeah, no, she's fantastic. Like she's amazing, and she hangs out with my stepkids. Like it's such a neat thing.
Yeah.
But we have had conversations
Mhm.
where we go into, like, boss employee mode, manager business mode. So we almost call what we are, like, "Okay, I'm wearing this hat right now while we're having this conversation." And I find because we're very transparent with each other around that, that helps. But
I love that.
I know I can let my hair down with them, and
Mhm.
I know that I can be myself, but it's a very rare relationship.
Yeah. I would probably say like one that goes back to like clear as kind.
Yeah.
And I think I would probably say like we're saying, most people can't get themselves to the awareness of like, oh, we are actually in a different conversation right now. We are not friends right now. We are work mode. And this is the discussion that we need to have to be effective.
Mhm.
And that is a difficult thing to do, but also really beautiful if you can get to that point. I'd be curious if more people could get to a spot like that. Obviously, not everyone, but more people could get to a spot like that if more people were in the habit of saying, so at times we are going to have work conversations, and at times we are going to have um, coworker conversations. And if ever I feel like we need to adjust that, I'm going to let you know during that this is the hat that I'm wearing and that this is the perspective I'm coming from.
Mhm.
And I think that would be helpful. And the same as like, if your staff does want to tell you something important or maybe TMI but not important, um, you can make that statement. Or maybe it's just like team culture that you get into the habit of like, I'm gonna be outside of work coworker right now because I have something I want to tell people and
Yeah.
I can't not tell people. And then you say it, and then it's just you kind of set a different tone of just like that genuine, transparent candor.
Yeah. And I think that's how this came about actually, is because during COVID being a hard time, she would always come up to me and say, "I need to talk to you." And, as a salon owner, when you hear those words, your mind goes to like, "Oh my God, they're quitting. That's it. Like I'm gonna lose an employee, like worst case scenario." And and then it would be something like a personal issue or something they're struggling with or something along those lines.
I want to joke and be like, "We're out of toilet paper."
But it could have been something like that. So we developed this like, because I've done coaching, she's like, I need Coach Nicole right now. So we developed this kind of conversation as like, who do you want to show up at this point in time? And so that made me not go into like, oh crap mode when she says we need to talk. And then for her too, she knew that who was coming to the table, who she was having that conversation with as well. So maybe even like having, like, I think even you and I, Alicia, have had this sort of conversation. Like, are we in podcast mode? Are we in like friendship mode? Are we in like creating content for any of our courses mode? Like, we kind of have a bit more like we go in and out of those conversations a bit more without labeling, but I think you and I both know when we're in different modes, like what to expect of the other person. So what you said earlier is the clearest kind. That I think is the perfect way of saying that, like, you need to be clear with your employees that, like, if you need to have a conversation with me that is a bit more personal, just tell me, like, "Can we just go out for a drink? Can we have more of a friend to friend chat rather than I need you as a boss right now?"
Yeah, I think that's great. I I do agree with you too that we have had those conversations of like, okay, this is going to be this kind of conversation. But also I think you and I are pretty good at reading body language to be able to be
Yeah.
like, no, we're business mode or we're like a different mode.
Yeah.
Uh, and I and I think that's amazing to be people that can read it, but exactly that is like I'm just getting excited in my head. I don't know if I can pull it off, but, like, trying to create that culture of just everyone with each other,
Mhm.
never mind just boss and employee, like, which is already a weird thing, we're always worried that they're gonna have some bad news, and then they're also always worried that they're gonna get fired or get in trouble, so, like, it goes the same way. Um, and it never goes away no matter how many nice conversations you have or how connected your conversations are. It just never goes away. Um, but I think if we got into the habit of like coming to each other saying what we need from them to start the conversation and how beautiful that would be as a team culture.
And I think even, like, going one step further, like, with your friends too. Like, so, as an owner, yes, it's great to be able to do that with your employees, but sometimes even if you're fearful of even starting or not knowing how to have that conversation, try it on with your sibling or your spouse or partner or whomever, like your best friend, just being like, "All right, I need you in party best friend mode right now," or "I need you in like supportive reassurance best friend mode right now."
Which is a very common, couples coaching thing of like, am I listening or am I advising?
Mm.
What am I just being here to cheer you on with whatever you got to complain about, or am I like helping you solve a problem?
And that also, like, coming full circle, that might also be a really good approach if to that employee that's coming up to you with a problem. It's like,
Mhm.
what do you need from me right now? Do you need me to tell you what to do, or do you need me to be here and hold space for you while you work through this problem yourself?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's key too. And that also makes me think about us as a general word being problem solvers ourselves from the get go, understanding that sometimes, more often than not, people do come to us, whether our team or outside of work life, wanting to share something, not wanting us to solve problems, but we get into problem solving mode before we've even acknowledged or asked permission if that's what they want. And then we're upset because they don't want our help.
Right.
So do less work.
Yeah. Talk less, listen more.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like this episode went a whole different place that we did not expect.
As most of them do.
They do. That is true. I hope everyone really loves our little rants and chats. We love them.
We do.
Anyway. So boundaries, create problem solvers, and use some systems to help with those.
Yeah,
Anything else?
I think that's it. Just listen. Listen to what their people are actually saying, and don't try and anticipate what they're gonna say.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's so important. So important. Well, thank you. Thank you for listening to us and taking the time. We really enjoy it, and we hope you do too, as Alicia just said.
Thanks so much for hanging out with us today. Take this knowledge and just keep developing yourself. And hey, we want to hear from you too. Join the conversation using our hashtag #PositiveImagePodcast. Share your thoughts, questions, and success stories. Who knows, we might just feature you on an upcoming episode. Don't keep us a secret, tag your friends too. Want to keep learning? Check out our show notes. Find us on Instagram at hello.positiveimage, and be sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode filled with inspiration and insights.